Hi everyone, welcome to Grow Roots. This is Shannon, and today I will be taking you through a garden tour of my backyard and showing you the dog days of summer, what that looks like in my Texas garden in mid-August of 2026. And let me tell you, this has been a really tough summer for my garden spaces. We've had a lot to deal with, so to start off with, we have had, now I counted this morning, I think it's 24 days of 100 degree to 105 degree heat. Heat indexes are even worse. The humidity is off the wall. The lows are 80 to 82 degrees. That's how low we get. We don't get any cooler than 80 degrees for quite some time. It's been 6 weeks without any measurable rain. Well, okay, I'm sorry, less than a quarter inch of rain in the last 6 weeks, none in the last 4 weeks or the last month. So that in itself is extreme heat stress for all of these plants. Plants go under heat stress at 83 degrees, I believe it is. And so for it to be 100 to 105 every day for many, many days, and lows not getting any cooler than 80 degrees, it's extreme heat stress on these plants. Also, I have had Aster Yellows completely strike my backyard and my front yard garden, and I've had to pull a lot of plants, including a couple of Proven Winners perennials that they sent me. They also came down with Aster Yellows even after I had removed all of the Aster Yellows infected plants from my garden. The reason is because those silly little sharpshooter leaf hoppers are in my garden, and some of those are or were, maybe, I don't know if they're gone or not, they might still be around, but they're infected with the bacteria that causes Aster Yellows, and so they are the ones that are transmitting this disease. On top of that, I've had just some other things happen, and so you're going to see my garden at its most extreme stress, but I am still very proud of how it looks. These are the plants. This is the garden tour that you want to watch if you live in a hot climate, because these are the plants that will survive all of the heat stress and diseases and pests and things. I've had a lot of pests too. I'll tell you all about those today. So these are the plants that are the toughest of the tough. So join me as we walk through my garden. I am here to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly that occurs when you have a Texas garden in super, super, super extreme heat. You can imagine we have all of the things, pests and diseases, plants that didn't make it, like I told you with Aster Yellows, all of the things. So here we go. I'm going to start with these garden spaces over here. I'm going to start with my new one. This is my shed garden. This garden was just created in it's been almost a year. We did it in late August of last year. And the goal for this shed garden was to create heat-tolerant perennials that would look beautiful together. And some of these are natives and some are not, but all of them are very heat tolerant. And but I had to pull a lot of these plants out because of Aster Yellows. So it doesn't look 100%, but like I said, I show you everything, like the struggles and the successes. But I want to start off, here is the sedum that I have at this border. This is lemon ball sedum. This is Chloe. She's going to be with me all throughout this backyard garden tour anyway, and she just insists on getting all of the love and all of the attention. She is so, so sweet. But the lemon ball sedum, it's doing okay. There are portions of it that are dying off a bit, like over here. This is more shaded, by the way, so that makes total sense. Lemon ball sedum is amazing because it can take shade or sun, and that is what I wanted for the border of this garden. I needed plants that bordered it that could take full sun, which is really kind of what I have going on just right here. And then I have part sun over here, and I have full shade back there. And kind of the same thing on this side. I have full sun. This is, I would say, no, this is more of a full sun because the sun comes in right through here, and it lasts about 5 to 6 hours. So it's pretty full sun. But then you get back here and you've got definite, almost part shade, full shade. And so I've got plants that can handle that back there. But the lemon ball sedum can take both. It's just the growth habit is better if it gets full sun. But even still, this section has fried. So it's like, you know, well, because we have one extreme or the other here in Texas, right? If you're full sun, I mean, you're full sun in 105-degree heat. And so anyway, it's doing fine. And I can replace some of these sections that have gotten bare next spring, and that's no problem. Right behind it, I have Stella d'Oro daylilies. They have been rock stars. Let me just tell you, Stella d'Oro, in terms of varieties of daylilies, it is so incredibly tough. And it's not blooming right now, but it has bloomed from spring all the way until this dead heat of summer. And I even noticed over here, I have another bloom stalk coming up. So it is going to bloom for me here in just a bit. But it's, you know, all of them have grown a lot. They've undergone a lot and they're absolute rock stars. So let's start on this side. Coming in behind here, I used to have 3 Cheyenne Spirit Echinacea, and then I had Shasta daisies here as well. All of those came down with Aster Yellows and they had to be pulled completely. I have a video all about Aster Yellows. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, you can definitely check out that video. I'll have a link to the video on the upper right hand corner of your screen. But in between all of those was my catmint that I grew from seed. This is just your typical catmint mucinii. I winter sow a lot of plants. I love winter sowing as my seed starting method. Again, I have a whole playlist on that if you're curious, because I'm starting to think about my winter sowing already. But anyway, that's that catmint that I winter sowed just this year. Doing okay. It's surviving. And then coming up back here, I have Summer Pastels Yarrow. I cut that all the way back in my Texas chop in the beginning of July. Over here in my shade section, it's a little bit sparse, but I do have some plants back here. I've got a Gerbera daisy that I thought would do well, and it's struggling. I have columbine, which we had some irrigation issues, so some things almost died completely, and I didn't realize that the irrigation was not working properly until it was almost too late. So I think that's why that died. It could have been dog pee as well. My dog likes to go in for whatever area to this area. I think she catches bunnies back here. And so anyway, I'm trying to keep her out of that area. But columbine, it's still alive, but it's on the struggle bus. Another big columbine back there. Again, still alive, but struggling. And then this is Perfectamundo fuchsia carpet. And there are portions of it that have died off right there. Again, struggling, but still alive. That's the goal, right? Especially with a new garden bed with perennials and shrubs. You just want to keep them alive in the first year. Chloe is pawing at me. Hi. You just want to keep them alive that first year. That's the goal. Root growth is the goal. And then, you know, from there, the second year they creep, and the third year they leap. So hopefully if I can keep them alive, they'll be just fine. I have a hydrangea back there. I had a paisley pup dog hobble back here that is no longer with us. It has struggled ever since it's been planted, and it kicked the dust about a couple weeks ago. So it's done. This plant is actually grown here naturally. This is, I believe, a Yopon holly. They are a Texas native, and, you know, has kind of come into this area from this beautiful, I guess you could call it a green belt, but this is a creek right behind our house that is the watershed of the Louisville Lake. And so it is never going away. It is a beautiful borrowed view, and this is what I love about my backyard. It's just absolutely glorious, especially when the sun rises in the morning through those trees. It's just gorgeous. So this pot right here is something I am so thrilled about and so proud of. This is a Japanese maple, my first Japanese maple, and it is the Orangiola variety. It's kind of a lacy kind of leaf, and it's got this really pretty like green, somewhat lime coloration to it in the summer. And then as we hit fall, this is going to turn like orange and red. I was a little bit underwhelmed last fall. It was a new plant that had just been planted. So I didn't get the orange foliage that I was really hoping for, but I'm hoping that as time goes on and it establishes itself a little bit better here in this spot, that I will see better fall foliage on it. But it's just absolutely gorgeous. It has a weeping habit, as you can see, and it's just, wow. It's, again, you know, it's super, super tough. This is mostly shade for it back there. It gets a little bit of sun in the morning, and that's perfect for this type of Japanese maple, and it's doing really, really well planted there in that large pot. So coming over here, I told you that I had Shasta daisies that were planted here in Cheyenne Spirit Echinacea. They've been replaced by some proven winners plants. I'm so sorry, I'm distracted. Look at this. So catmint, you can see she's licking the leaves right now. She's laying in it and licking them. She loves the catmint, let me tell you. But that's the catmint from seed that I talked about. This is a catmint variety from Proven Winners, and it is Catwalk Queen. And this is a beautiful variety. It's been super, super, super tough. Handled a transplant in 100-degree heat. I'm just trying to keep her off of it so I can show you. And it's even blooming for me right now. So you can see those beautiful blue blooms. Much more compact habit than, as you know, the normal Nepeta that I grew from seed. I'm really looking forward to seeing this just come to life in this garden area. Right behind it is an Echinacea from Proven Winners Perennials. It is the Summer Song Firefinch, and it is a little, it survives the transplant just fine. But Echinacea, definitely when they are first planted, they struggle a little bit, especially when they're planted in 105-degree heat, which it has. I have a whole video on planting perennials in the summer heat. You can definitely do it. You just have to watch them. And there are some extra things that you do when you plant them, but it's doing okay. We do have some new growth, and I'm happy about that. And then coming over here, same thing, the Echinacea Summer Song Firefinch, again doing okay. And then the Nepeta Catwalk Queen as well. But coming right here, man, this is a Texas superstar. This is called Texas Rock Rose, and it is a Texas native. But look at those absolutely beautiful pink blooms. These guys just, when it gets hot, they just thrive. Really, really tough plant. Tons of blooms coming, as you can see. And this plant is just doing really, really good there. I've never seen it stress, like, at all. The flowers will close midday when it gets really, really hot. That's just the plant's way of dealing with the heat. But other than that, like, it doesn't show any heat stress, nothing at all. Chloe just caught a dragonfly. Isn't that lovely? You're just being distracting today, aren't you? Anyway, coming over here, another one that is just a really great Texas tough plant is Veronica. And I could not tell you what type of Veronica this is, but I can tell you that it's amazing. It was not labeled when I bought it. It wasn't even labeled Veronica, but I do know that it's Veronica. And I've even been able to save the seeds from it last year and grow another one successfully. So I just love this plant. It's just remarkable. And I do need to deadhead it. Like, I've got new buds coming, new flower stalks. So that's really, really fun. But I could go in and definitely deadhead this. I just haven't done that. But the more you deadhead, the more blooms you're going to get. And then later towards the season, I'm going to let that go to seed and collect more seeds from it because it's just a superstar. Coming over here, I have some Russian sage. I believe this variety is Little Spire. It does not get as much sun as it would want, I think. Russian sage wants that heat. It wants that full sun. And so I think the blooms on mine are a little bit underwhelming. I really wanted to try Russian sage in this spot, but I'm not sure I'm in love with that and that I'm going to keep that. Coming behind, wanted to talk about this. And please don't judge me on the weeds. Oh my goodness, I apparently haven't gone back here to get these recently. But this tree is, I'm happy. Like, this tree was almost dead. It completely defoliated, like the leaves turned brown and started coming off, I'd say about a week and a half ago. And I thought I was going to lose this tree. This is an Alexandrina magnolia. And it's a baby. I was sent this tree last year by, I think it's Encore, accompanied with another company to send these free trees out. And it's done well until like a week and a half ago, when I think my irrigation issues were happening. I didn't realize in time that things were not getting watered. And so I think that's what caused it to do that. And I thought I was going to lose it. But you can see all of this new growth, and it's looking really, really good. So I'm so happy about that. This stem is completely new right here. So that's super exciting. Yeah. Wow, how resilient that plant is to withstand 100-degree temperatures and a little bit of time without water, where it kind of completely died off and now is rejuvenating itself. So that's wonderful. Another really amazing plant right here is Gatsby Pink Oakley Hydrangea. And let me tell you, she was just a teeny tiny baby 1 year ago. I'm telling you, maybe 10 to 12 inches tall. And she is, let's see, I'd say she's a good 3 feet tall right now. So she has tripled in size, just doing really, really well. Let's see if she still has that bloom on. Yeah, that was the one bloom that I got, but she was just a baby. So I was happy to have at least that one bloom. But it's very, very happy in that location, mostly shade in that location, but oak leaf hydrangeas are super, super, super tough. And the Gatsby Pink has been phenomenal so far. I do have a Sweet William that is on the struggle bus right there. And then I had a Fun Yellow Clematis. Yep, it did not survive. Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs sent me that Fun Yellow Clematis, and it was kind of a surprise because it wasn't one that was on the list that I knew I was getting. And so I was so happy to get it. It was such a beautiful plant when I received it, and it just did not make it. I did everything that I knew to do with Clematis, which is to make sure the roots were shaded, like there's a good 4 inches of mulch there, all of the things. It didn't make it, but that's okay. That, things like that happen, we all have our failures. Okay, so this is like my shade garden. This area is almost 100% shade, with the exception of a little bit of sunlight in the morning. The sun's going to come above that tree line and give these guys a tiny bit of sun for just a tiny bit of time, and then they're done. But here's what I have. These things are growing amazingly in the shade. Let's see. So this is variegated liriope, and it's blooming. Very similar to that Veronica stock for me anyway. It just feels totally different, but it's doing great. I have a Brunnera back there. That is Sea of Hearts Forget-Me-Not Brunnera from Monrovia, doing amazing. I've got some Creeping Jenny. These were just little clippings or cuttings that I had taken that took root in this area, which I'm so glad. I'm going to get more and more Creeping Jenny to kind of be a ground cover in this space for sure. And then I have 6 Proven Winners. These are the Let's Dance Skyview hydrangea. So this is Proven Winners first continuously blooming hydrangea macrophylla, and I'm so excited to try these out. They sent these to me like in summer, so I up potted them and put them in the shade here, but these are gonna go in another area. I'll show you in just a moment, my side garden in the backyard. I'm replacing some other hydrangeas that are on the struggle bus. I think these will do much better, but I'm waiting until the fall to transplant those. But just look at these. They're doing amazing. Lots of new growth, as you can see. No blooms on this one. That's totally fine by me. And then this one is doing amazing as well. Oops, I've got one right here tucked in. You can barely see it. This is a giant leopard plant. These are phenomenal, you guys. I think I want more of these in other shady spaces for sure, because look at this. This is kind of the hosta of Texas for me, because this is where you can get amazing, super huge leaves. And this plant is one of the toughest plants that I can think of. It is not affected too much by light frost. It has stayed this way for me until we get a hard freeze. And then we will probably get some blooms on this guy in the fall as well. So they're cute little yellow blooms. And the other thing that I love about this that I've noticed some lizards in this area, some anoles. When I get overhead watering, the leaves will catch the water. We have been so incredibly dry that I've been watching the lizards kind of lick, and her too, by the way, lick the water. This is like a bowl for them, right? A bowl of water. So it's just such a great plant. But anyway, the Let's Dance Sky Views are doing awesome. I do have a new bloom coming on one of these. Where did I see it? Here it is. So in the 100-degree heat, this guy's putting on a new bloom, even as little as it is. So yes, this bloom is done. I could just take it and pinch it off. To be honest, you could just do that and it's good to go. But it's doing phenomenal. They're all doing really well. I've got hostas planted in these containers. Now there are two hostas that are not performing at their usual. This one is one of them. I believe this is the, I always forget. This one is the Elegans Blue hosta. It's not doing terrible, but this is not its full glory. It did not grow to its full glory this year. I'm gonna repot it, probably divide it, and put some hostas elsewhere. But it's still alive and doing fairly well. This one's doing great. Yes, you're gonna see the hosta is starting to go dormant because it is so incredibly hot here. So this is just what you're going to see with hostas, even in the shade in Texas, but I don't mind it at all. That I still have plenty of leaves that look amazing. This one is the Elabroic hosta by Blue Label. And then this one is really on the struggle bus. I'm not sure if it's gonna survive, but this is Proven Winners Shadowland. I want to say this is Woo La La. Yes, this is Shadowland Woo La La. This was huge, like that plant last year. This year it's like this. There's definitely maybe over irrigation happening, and I don't know why. I've got to figure that out, but I've also got to repot that, give it some new soil, and see what I can do to keep that one alive. It does have new growth right there. But anyway, and then this is Proven Winners Shadowland Diamond Lake. Look at these huge leaves, bigger than my hand, probably bigger than my head. And it's just doing fabulous. It's really lovely. And then I didn't want to skip talking about these autumn ferns, which have done really well as well. Again, with those irrigation issues, there's a little bit of brown leaves under there, but you can see all of this new growth ever since. I have another autumn fern back there, same exact thing, doing wonderful. I have a hydrangea in between there, and that was my experiment to see if a hydrangea macrophylla would bloom in 100% complete shade, which this is back here, and it did. Here's the blooms. I mean, they're a little bit fried now because of the heat, but it did bloom. I got 3 blooms. So they will bloom in full shade. That's wonderful to know. And then coming over here, this is a Proven Winners Cascading Hydrangea. This one is called Fairy Trail Fresco. And so this is the part of the plant that this is normal for it. The blooms have turned green and it's really doing pretty well. I think, what do you guys think? This growth habit is not typical of this cascading hydrangea. This is supposed to cascade over this. I was wanting this to be a hanging basket, but I kept it down here to just kind of keep an eye on it this year. And then all of this new growth this year is very tall and, upright. It's not cascading at all. So I'm not sure about this plant. I'm not sure that it's doing what it's advertised to do, which is cascade over a lovely pot or stay like a ground cover if you're planting it in the ground. It is beautiful, and I'm tempted to just leave that there and, I don't know. But you guys let me know what I should do. Should I prune off that part of it because it's not supposed to be that way, or should I leave it? But it is a beautiful plant nonetheless, even if it's not doing exactly what it was supposed to do. This was a teeny tiny baby last year as a little quart size, and it's done pretty well this season. All right, I'm gonna take you guys into my full sun garden, which is looking pretty good, I think, with the exception of some things. So one of the staples of this garden was echinacea, and I took out probably 6 or 7, 4 different varieties of echinacea that I took out that came down with Aster Yellows. So you're gonna see blank spaces. Not as bad as I thought. It kind of gave everything else more room to grow. But let's talk about this plant right here. This is a double play Big Bang spirea. Really love spirea. I'm falling in love with spirea for sure. I just wish it was evergreen. If it was evergreen, then I think spirea would be the absolute perfect shrub in the world. I love it so much because it gets this, you know, this new growth that's kind of yellow and bronze. This particular variety has bloomed for me all throughout the season, just sporadic blooms. It has its big bloom in, I would say, mid to late spring, and it's just growing huge. There's parts of it that are definitely getting, you know, heat stressed. It's just kind of how it goes. I keep those on to shade everything else beneath it so that I don't have continuous, like, you know, heat stress going on there. I have another spirea there that is double play candy corn. It's definitely my favorite spirea. I've got a little bit of chlorosis going on that I'm seeing right now, but that new growth is so beautiful. It's like this red leaf, and then it turns bronzy yellow, and then it turns lime, and then it turns that green that you see. And candy corn spirea has a beautiful bushy habit, whereas I think the double play Big Bang, it tries to be a more weeping habit. It's a weird growth habit. It's not all upright and mounding, and it's mounding, but it's wonky. Like if you see this branch that's curling and stuff, a lot of curly branches, weeping curly branches, whereas this one is nice and upright, mounding and bushy. The only thing about candy corn spirea is that it has just one bloom for me, and that is it, and that is mid to late spring. But otherwise, it is just the most remarkable plant. I love the coloring of this plant. It is almost year-round interest, and it's just lovely. Right here is Mexican petunia, dwarf rualia, and this is the pink variety. They come in purple and in white. This is the time of year where they shine. This is the time of year where they bloom, and they're doing okay. I wish I had more blooms than just this, but it's a fantastic border plant if you are looking for a small, low-growing border plant. Mexican petunia, the tall variety here in Texas, is known for being extremely invasive. This smaller variety really is not. It will definitely spread itself, but not in an overwhelming way. It just divides, you know, itself, and this is definitely a bigger portion than, you know, was planted here. So, but it's definitely controllable and super great border plant. I have a yarrow growing in there somewhere that also trying. Now, yarrow has been a little bit invasive for me, at least this one has. It tries to pop up all kinds of things by rhizome that I'm pulling out. But anyway, there's yarrow there. I have a ground cover in this garden bed that is called Plumbago ceratostigma. Ceratostigma plumbaganoides, I should say. But it's got these most beautiful blue flowers. It's out of bloom right now. I don't think I have any that's like fully in bloom, but wonderful heat tolerant, full sun to part sun ground cover. And it does spread, but again, not overwhelmingly. It filled out this entire garden bed when spring started, but then when the echinacea started growing, like, you know, all of the spots where I took the echinacea out are the bare spots where the plumbago couldn't grow. So that tells you it can't grow in full shade. But true blue flowers, it is deciduous. It will lose its leaves in the winter, but absolutely wonderful heat tolerant ground cover that provides true blue blooms. And then I have this pot, this container in the middle of that full sun garden that has a limelight hydrangea standard, which means I've been training it to grow like a tree. that interestingly enough, limelights here in Texas typically will start blooming in early summer. This is now just starting to bloom in mid to late summer. I was wondering if it was going to bloom at all. I was like, whew, it's kind of on the struggle bus, but it has recouped itself and started blooming, and it's doing wonderful. And this is just, let's see, this is year 2 of training it into a standard. So you can see where I have cut it. I have taken off all of the other limbs that try to come up to, and only allowed these 4 branches this year. And this will form like the base of the tree. So anyway, I'm really glad this is doing well. And I'm also glad it actually bloomed later, because everything else is looking so tired in the garden right now, except this plant. This plant is just looking amazing. Look at that bloom. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really, really happy that I have that. And then underplanted, this was such a success this year that I kind of didn't even expect. So this year I grew a variety of things under here, but the one that you're seeing that's just taking off, this is Proven Winners Sparkling Rosé Superbena, and it has done phenomenally. It took a long time for this guy to get started, but now it's just all over this container and it's absolutely beautiful. I still have a little bit of Sugar Stars phlox left. You can see these beautiful little purplish, whitish blooms, but it is starting to die off. A little too hot for that phlox now. And then another superstar is that Blue Days Evolvulus. Absolutely beautiful. It's interesting because a lot of the time I have tried to grow Blue Days Evolvulus just like this in other containers in full sun, and it hasn't bloomed for me in the summertime like this year, and it hasn't spread and looked as amazing as these 2 Blue Days Evolvulus have. And so they are super heat tolerant. I've seen everybody else rave about them. I haven't had the best experience with them until this year, but they're doing phenomenal. Look at that. They're so great. Okay, so I have lots of vines growing on this tree. I've got Confederate Star Jasmine. I have Black-Eyed Susan vine that was not planted this year, but has come back from seeds in previous years. So in the fall, this is going to be covered with yellow blooms, which is so fun. More of that Plumbago Ceratostigma ground cover. I have a Gomphrena, Buddy Purple Gomphrena, which is a dwarf variety that is doing awesome. These are just some of the spent blooms, but it's still doing just fine. And then I have a peony right there. Never bloomed for me, 4 years old, not planted too deep, don't know why, but it's actually doing really good, surprisingly. And then, all the blank spaces, again, you see that's just where the echinacea was taken out. Coming back around here, I don't think I'm going to be able to incorporate the container garden in this garden tour for time reasons, but I am going to create another container garden tour coming up. So keep an eye on that. But I have some wonderful things that are doing absolutely amazing. I have rosemary growing back there. Let's get back down there to see what I can show you. So I've come down into this garden space over here to show you. I have a phlox. That is the Proven Winners Opening Act Ultra Pink phlox. Lots of weeds growing in from this area. I have not been down here in a while, but the phlox is doing okay. It's surviving, not thriving. I have some zinnias that were planted here that are not getting enough sun. A Gerbera daisy that's actually doing decently. I've got more Confederate Star Jasmine vine growing here. I am underneath I'll show you when I get back up there, but this is a Sunshine Ligustrum that grew way taller than it was supposed to. It's 8 feet tall, and so I have treed it up, but you can see I have not been able to maintain it very well. So I need to go in and get all of these limbs up that are all these suckers that are trying to present themselves. But I have some begonias that are planted in pots. There's a lot of things planted in pots under here because my dog digs all of this up. And I still want plants down here, but I want them to survive. And so I have begonias that are doing okay that are down here. I also have a sweet potato vine down there as well. I have some ajuga I grew from seed that are growing down there. A Texas sage, which, because the echinacea came out of this location, which it did, the Texas sage has gotten more sun than normal, and it's looking a lot better. Don't plant Texas sage in part sun or shade because they don't like it. They want full sun, but it's actually, this Texas sage is doing okay, and they are so Texas tough. I have a limelight hydrangea there that's got this, oh my gosh, it's a black-eyed Susan vine. Okay, it's got a black-eyed Susan vine growing around it, but this is on the struggle bus for sure, this limelight, and I gotta figure something else out for this space that is kind of a part shade thing. I'm almost, I don't know. I'm thinking of ideas here for sure. It's hard. Part shade is definitely a difficult one to think about. And then under here is almost full shade. And this is just an area that I definitely struggle with. So I'm welcome to some ideas if you guys have some heat tolerant, drought tolerant ideas for part shade. Speaking of, though, this is actually a wonderful solution, and maybe I'll get more of this. This is the Proven Winners Scentlandia Sweet Spire, and it was planted this spring. These can take full sun to part shade, although here in Texas, I'm seeing this, this sunburn. It gets afternoon sun. So I'm definitely thinking that full sun would not be okay with this plant in Texas, but I mean, the rest of it is doing unbelievable. It's just, it's really holding its own. You're gonna see some leaf curl. Again, that's heat stress related, I believe. That's just a mechanism that plants use to protect themselves from the extreme heat that we have. But overall, some sunburn, some leaf curling. The undercarriage of this plant looks amazing, and it brings these beautiful blooms in the spring, I believe, and they just smell absolutely wonderful. And these guys can take any kind of conditions: sun, shade, wet, boggy spots, dry spots. It can take it all. So that's just a wonderful plant to have, and it's doing well. This one also is doing really well. This is Proven Winners Sugar Shack Button Bush. This one was sent to me by Proven Winners to trial here in Texas. And again, this guy is typically getting some afternoon sun. Other than that, it's all shade, and it's doing well. There's not a huge amount of new growth on, well, there's some new growth right there, but this one was planted like fairly recently in summertime. So the fact that it's still there and it's still green and it has new growth is a very, very good thing. Again, Sugar Shack Button Bush, so cute. I'm trying to remind myself of all of the specs. I will pop them on the screen, but I believe these guys are part shade to shade, I think. I don't think they take full sun. I'll put it on the screen, you guys. But Sugar Shack Button Bush has the cutest little button white flowers, the cutest little blooms, and they are a cultivar of a native that is here in Texas, the button bush, and that is doing really, really well here. I also wanted to show you the sunshine ligustrum and all of its glory. It's so huge. I haven't trimmed it in quite some time because it's just really kind of too hot. I don't want to put a lot of stress on this plant. We have dealt with whitefly really bad on our sunshine ligustrum this year. We have 4 or 5 of them planted in our front garden, and then this one back here, they just were infested with whitefly. I didn't do anything about it last year, and that was not a good choice. And this year I just decided, listen, if I can't, I'm gonna hit them hard, and if I can't get rid of them, I'm gonna take the sunshine ligustrum out, because they can be they're a wonderful heat tolerant, drought tolerant shrub. I love the color, evergreen, wonderful, great things about this shrub, but they can attract whiteflies. And when you get one whitefly, you get a ton, and then they can quickly become infested if you don't do something about it. I tried spraying them with water. No. I tried last year with a couple of doses of insecticidal soap, like soaking them with insecticidal soap, but I did not keep up with that the way that I should, and I have discovered that is the key. So if you want to hear about it, you know, I'll talk about that for the next couple minutes, or you can skip on. But here's how I got rid of the whitefly infestation, and I was successful. My routine with the insecticidal soap was to completely drench on top of the leaves, underneath the leaves, inside the plant, everywhere was drenched with insecticidal soap. And then I repeated that every 4 days, I believe it was, for 2 to 3 weeks. Completely, every 3, maybe it was every 3 days, for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And this, controls all of the eggs that hatch and all of the things. And then after 2 to 3 weeks, when I saw that it was making a difference, and then I cut down the insecticidal soap regimen to once per week for probably about a month. And then after that, I cut down to every 2 weeks. So, and that's how I got rid of them. So you have to hit it hard, and it's got to be consistent. And honestly, I think I've got to hit this every 2 weeks during the growing season, at least this year, to get rid of the whitefly. Because I have noticed after a couple of weeks, I have seen them come back again. And it has been 2 weeks since my last application. That's why I'm like wiggling this, because usually that's when I'll see if I have whitefly. I don't see any whitefly on this plant at all, which is a great thing. But I might just hit it with it tomorrow just to be sure, because tomorrow's the 2 week mark. But that's how I've gotten rid of the whitefly infestation. All right, coming up here is my Tangerine Beauty Crossvine. Absolutely my favorite perennial vine. Such a Texas tough plant. Can take full sun to part sun, blooms amazingly in the springtime, and sporadic blooms all season long. As a matter of fact, until yesterday, these guys were still blooms, but here is a recent bloom that it put on all throughout the season. It does this. I had it, yeah, a hummingbird seriously went to this bloom yesterday, and today it looks like this. Actually, maybe it was this one. Yeah, it was probably that one, but still. Hummingbirds love them. I've seen them on this plant. Bees love it as well. Butterflies, all of the things. But that is an absolute beautiful evergreen perennial vine for here in Texas. And then I will talk about these containers really quick, just because they are looking so beautiful here in August. But these are this is Limelight Hydrangea Alley. This is the area of my garden that I think limelights survive the best. And believe it or not, this is morning shade and afternoon sun. Part sun, that's 4 to 5 hours at most. And the sun that it does get is in the afternoon. But I've grown them all over my garden, including full sun that you just saw. They actually tend to do better here. And in this one, it gets, that's a part shade location that gets, I think, some afternoon, but not a lot, and it doesn't do well. And so it's just interesting, but it has some older blooms. This is what's going to happen when you have full afternoon sun on a Limelight Hydrangea in Texas, but it's putting on new blooms too, which I honestly have not seen a Limelight Hydrangea continuously bloom in the summer like this for me. So this is really awesome. But it's just absolutely stunning, glorious. I can talk more about those on my container garden tour. And then let me show you the last part of my backyard garden, and you will have to forgive me. I have gone and weeded a little bit, not the way that I should have. And then again, I think I have some irrigation issues going on back here. I'm hand watering until I figure it out. But some things have struggled just because I think they haven't been getting enough water, and there are weeds and some things that I have yet to clean up. And so bear with me, you guys. This is a part of my garden that I'm going to be fully transparent about with you. And this garden is going to completely change in the fall. So just showing you how everything goes. I've got these canna lilies that I've tried to take out of this garden so many times, and they keep coming up anyway, because I'm apparently missing some of these rhizomes. But anyway, canna lilies, a peony down there. I have foxglove. They didn't really make it. And probably irrigation issue. This is Greg's Mist Flower, which is now starting to flower. I don't think Greg's Mist Flower says that it can deal with part sun, which is what this location is, but I just don't love the habit of Greg's Mist Flower or how it looks in part sun. I think it's much more beautiful in full sun. So I will take this out. It will not be part of this garden in the fall. I have Scabiosa, which I thought would do really well there, that's also struggling. I have a boxwood that's fine because they are just crazy hardy. I've got amaryllis planted all back here. I love amaryllis. I can grow them in the ground here. They're hardy down to zone 8B, 9A, 8B, but I'm 8A and they seem to be doing just fine. But I'm still struggling to figure out if I'm going to incorporate them in the garden from here on out. I may bring them in like right now to go dormant in a closet so that I can get them blooming for Christmas in my home. And then I may just keep them in containers for the rest of their lives, bringing them in August to go dormant, bringing them out to flower in my home during Christmas, and then bringing them outside so they can store up all of the energy. But I'm undecided on that. So there that is. I've got some purple Tradescantia growing here. This is Mystic Spire's Salvia, which is an amazing plant. I'm testing it here in this part shade/shade location. It was in full sun last year and was unbelievable. It has bloomed, but not amazingly. As you can imagine, in a part shade location, like the plant can tolerate it, but you're not going to see a whole lot of blooms from it. And it's like leaning over a little bit. The branches are kind of wonky, you know, they're not as strong. So not sure that it really truly loves that part shade. And then here's what I'm not embarrassed, but you know, like this is full disclosure. These are 6 hydrangeas that are really on the struggle bus this year. And again, likely irrigation issues and just how hot we have been. But I will be replacing them, so I'm not putting in a whole lot of effort to save them. I'm replacing them with the Let's Dance Skyview, and you better bet I'm going to figure out those irrigation issues before then. But in the meantime, that's what you're seeing here. Hydrangea macrophylla, and yeah, they are looking rough, let me tell you. They're alive, but they're rough. I've got some heuchera. I believe this is electric lime heuchera. There's an onyx heuchera there, and then there's a Georgia peach heuchera there. And here is a rock star, a Texas native. This is Turk's cap. Wonderful, wonderful plant for sun through shade. This is almost a full shade location, part sun, full shade. And this is the pink variety, and it's blooming, and it's just lovely. It's absolutely lovely. And it was smashed by pieces of my oak leaf hydrangea next to it for about 48 to 72 hours, and it's literally like there's no damage to this plant. Super, super great plant is Turk's cap. And actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I think I'm going to plant that in that space that I was talking about, that I was like, what am I going to plant here? What am I going to plant here? I think I'm going to do Turk's cap down there. I think it would do lovely. Yeah, it's just a great plant. Really great. And pests don't really bother it. So yeah, it's lovely. So coming over here, this is my, it's an Alice oak leaf hydrangea. It was labeled dwarf Alice in Wonderland, but it definitely did not, like, it's 8 feet tall. This part was 7 feet. It was an 8 foot tall plant, and most of it was right in front of this kitchen window until about 2 weeks ago. My AC went out. Our AC repair guy came and fell on top of it and didn't tell me. It was a whole thing. A lot of you had a lot of really passionate things to say about that. Let me tell you, I was a little bit taken aback and shocked by the comments on that video. You can check out that video if you want. It is planted 4 feet away from my air conditioning unit. And I do realize some of it was in the way for the air conditioning man, but I did offer to prune some of it back. He, said he could move around just fine, and then he ended up falling on it and not telling me, and I had all of this. I haven't taken it out yet, and I apologize. But anyway, all of this was laying on top of this, because that's where all of the breakage happened. About 80% of the plant broke off, but it's actually doing really well. This just testifies to how well oak leaf hydrangea, how tough it is for our Texas heat. It really is probably the best hydrangea for Texas. I grow all kinds of hydrangeas, but this one is the toughest for sure. And I'm glad that it has survived. And I'm a little sad, you know, that 80% of the plant is gone, but that's okay, that it's survived. And so I'm gonna continue to be able to enjoy it for years to come. So that's the important part. And the important part is that the AC guy was okay as well. Like I asked him, he's okay. He's okay. He just fell. He said he just lost his balance, but I was upset because he just didn't say anything. And I thought that wasn't very professional, and I could have done some things had I known right away, but that's okay. Such is life. All right, everyone. So that concludes my backyard garden tour for August 2026. Like I said, what you see in this garden tour is, you know, I hope that it gives you ideas of what to plant in your garden for next year, of things that will survive this Texas heat and things that maybe won't survive this Texas heat. To be honest, I have examples of both, but I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. I am almost at 5,000 subscribers. I would just absolutely be so thankful if you hit that subscribe button, help a girl out. And I want to thank each and every one of you who watched today from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate all of you so very much. For the most part, YouTube has been the most uplifting social media community that I have been involved in. And I just love y'all. I really do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope all of you have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye-bye.